was the last walk in the rain. I'd keep you out for hours in the storm. I would hold your hand like a lifeline to my heart. Underneath the thunder we'd be warm. If I had only known it was our last walk in the rain. If I had only known I'd never hear your voice again, I'd memorize each thing you ever said. And on those lonely nights, I could think of them once more and keep your words alive inside my head. If I had only known I'd never hear your voice again. You were the treasure in my hand. You were the one who always stood beside me. So unaware, I foolishly believed that you would always be there. But then there came a day and I turned my head and you slipped away. If I had only known it was my last night by your side, I'd pray a miracle to stop the dawn. And when you smiled at me, I would look into your eyes and make sure you know my love for you goes on and on. If I had only known, if I had only known, oh, the love I would have shown if I had only known.
Good morning, everyone. You are a living tribute to Kathy Gilroy. Every one of you here today to support her family, to come and pay respect to a woman who was larger than life, who touched so many lives that she might not have known. So, on behalf of Kathy's family, thank you so very much for being here today. My name is Dave Foley, and it's been my honor to have been chosen as the celebrant for today's service. A couple of housekeeping announcements. Following this service, we will be going immediately to the cemetery at Drinkwater for the final committal service. You are all invited to come. If you choose not to, you can make your way to the Eagles Club, where a time of refreshment and fellowship has been planned. And the family and the others will join you just as soon as they can. For those of you who will be joining the procession to the cemetery. We will be exiting from the west door of the concourse. You can feel free to come along with us. Two things: it would be helpful to put your lights on. Secondly, remember, please, that funeral processions are not exempt from any of the traffic laws. We must stop at red lights and yield and so on. You will find quite often in Moose Jaw that people do pull over to the side of the road as a mark of respect and to give you right of way. And you're welcome, of course, to accept that. But please remember, the rules apply to us, and we will not proceed with the service at the cemetery until we can see that everyone who wants to be there has arrived. We'd like to say welcome to those also who are joining us online, not able to be here for various reasons. To each of you, we say thank you as well for taking the time to join us. Every life, in my view, should be marked, and Kathy's in particular. I want you to listen as I speak a few words while we light this candle as a symbol of our respect and honor. As we begin this service today, we will pause to light this candle in memory of Kathy June Gilroy. The light of a flame has always been symbolic. We know the eternal flame, it stands for the remembrance of those gone before who have served well in life. The light of a candle has come to represent rebirth and renewal. These two meanings come together in the lighting of this candle. Let this light signify the ever-present love in your memories of Kathy, who will always live in your hearts. At the same time, let it symbolize renewal, as you must continue life without Kathy and continue to walk on with so many others. We have empty spaces in our lives because she is gone. And those spaces are very large. But we're thankful we can stand with each other, because in doing so we can find hope and healing. It's almost like together we can share and divide the burden of pain. As this candle is lit, we do so as those who care, who share, and remember. I'm going to invite you in a moment now to share with me and together in the Lord's Prayer. The words will appear on the screen, and I invite you to speak it with me. As we do this, sometimes people want to close their eyes, and that's fine. Whatever works for you so that you can focus yourself, relax to the greatest extent possible, and be comfortable here in this safe place with so many others. Shall we pray? Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. In a crowd this size, I can't take a microphone and go from person to person and ask you to share your memories of Kathy, or to tell others what kind of a woman, what kind of a person she was. Later on, by the way, when you're at the Eagles Club, you'll have that very opportunity. Share the memories, share your thoughts, share your pain, but share your laughter as well. So I can't come and ask you, but I am going to ask someone who knows Kathy almost best of all. I'm going to ask Brandy Gilroy if she will come and share her thoughts and her memories. Thank you.
Good morning. As I look around the room, there are so many people beyond our extended family. It is obvious that my mom was well loved. My family and I would like to thank you all for coming to celebrate her life. There are many of you who had to travel a fair distance to be here, so we appreciate your efforts. We have been overwhelmed by the love and support we have received in the past few weeks. This makes me proud to be from a small community. People here really show up for each other. The number of calls, texts, and visits have brought us a tremendous amount of joy during a time where there was very little. It means more to us than you will ever know, so on behalf of our family, thank you. Before proceeding, I ask for your patience and understanding as I try to make my way through this. Patty Roger, if you were here, I want you to know that I do remember the elements of giving a good speech from your language arts classes. I recognize that eye contact is crucial, but I'm going to have to bend the rules today and lock my eyes on my paper because I fear my eulogy will go sideways if I start making eye contact with some of you. Kathy June Gilroy was born on June 4th, 1958 in Gravelburg to Albert and Georgina Poto. She and her siblings, Sherry, Vern, and Harold, lived in Shamrock and farmed just outside of town. Her family moved to Moose Jaw in 1964, but continued to farm in Shamrock until 1973, when they purchased their farm outside of Briarcrest. Her family continues to farm Briar Farms today. Kathy attended school in Moose Jaw and graduated from Central Collegiate in 1975. Soon after graduation, she married her soulmate, Stephen Gilroy, in July of 1976. Steve and Kathy started their life together in Drinkwater and spent the last 46 years establishing their farm and family. In January of 1977, my brother, Stephen Jr., was welcomed into the world, and I was born in August of 1979. Her family continued to grow to include 6 grandchildren that meant more to her than anything else. Kathy always loved life on the farm. She played an instrumental role and ensured that all operations ran smoothly. She was a jack of all trades. Kathy excelled at math and took pride in taking care of the books and the accounting side of the farm. She was also very hands-on and could run every piece of equipment they owned. She was a great cook, homemaker, and wonderful mother and grandmother. She enjoyed gardening and spent many countless hours planting flowers and adding finishing touches to the yard. She was also the peacemaker on the farm. If you know my brother and my dad, they are not always the most easygoing people out there. From time to time, tempers rose, and my mom was always able to iron things out and found a middle ground. She could remain calm even in the most trying situations. Carrie, I'm afraid that you're going to have to take this role on. All I can say is I'm glad it isn't me. Her peacemaking skills must have been developed later on in life. Talking with family and her childhood friend Pat, it seems my mom was a bit of a nightmare in her early years. This came to me as a surprise because I do not ever recall ever hearing about this side of her. Apparently, my mom was a scratcher, pincher, and biter. An outlaw, as Pat described. I remember my mom telling me stories about my grandpa getting quite a chuckle from the use of some of her colorful language, because you can guess who she learned those words from. My Aunt Sherry recalls she knew every curse word and used them frequently. Some of her words even made me blush. It was not until I was older that I developed an appreciation for some of my mom's parenting techniques. I can remember growing up and going to her for advice. It wouldn't matter what it is that I wanted her opinion on. Her answer was always the same. You will have to decide that. I can't make that decision for you. I would argue that she wouldn't make the decision for me. I just wanted to know what she would do. She still wouldn't budge. She would listen and talk through things, but ultimately would not give me a straight answer. I know there were many times that she probably did not agree with some of my decisions, but she knew it was important for me to make my own mistakes. Now that I am a parent, I understand not only how important this is, but how difficult it is. My mom lived for her family. There was nothing that she loved more than hosting events and having get-togethers. Events often turned into late nights and sometimes even early mornings with everyone playing games or cards and having endless laughs. She always made sure that there was fun for all. My mom could be found purchasing games or new toys for the grandkids even before they were bored of the old ones. My kids quickly caught on to this. If we were out shopping and one of them found a toy that they wanted, and when I said no, they would tell me, well, I'm just going to ask Grandma and she'll get it for me. Holidays are going to be the hardest. My mom was the ultimate cheermeister. On December 1st, she would begin sporting her Santa hat and Christmas shirt anytime she went to the city. She and my dad would accessorize her car with reindeer antlers and a Rudolph nose to complete the look. Her storage room in her basement is filled with totes stacked to the roof of decorations for every holiday. Big Steve is going to have his work cut out for him. The farm was always decorated to the max. When I was young, she would let me have free rein on decorating long before I had any concept of style or what actually looked good. The philosophy, less is more, did not apply to decorations. I inherited her passion for holidays and will try to make them as memorable as possible for my own kids. Our entire family look forward to these special times and will always cherish these moments together. Over the past few weeks, I have been thinking a lot about the saying, how you make others feel says a lot about you. My mom had a gift of making people around her feel at ease. She genuinely took an interest in what was going on in others' lives, even if she did not know them very well. Her friendly disposition made anyone feel welcome and cared for. This is probably one of the most common themes I have heard from people when they are sharing stories about my mom, and one of the things we will all miss the most. Jeff and Carrie can attest to this. They were instantly made part of the family and were a perfect fit. Almost too perfect. They may have actually become my mom's favorite children. My mom and dad began spending their winters in Arizona. They became official snowbirds when they purchased a home in Santan Valley in 2010 and spent 5 years there. The real fun began for them when they decided to buy in Viewpoint so they could be closer to many of their friends and neighbors. This was one of the best decisions they made. There was never a shortage of things for them to do. In fact, I could rarely even get a hold of my parents because they were always out playing crib, attending music on the green, at someone's house for supper, or participating in a group outing. My mom thoroughly enjoyed her time in Arizona and the wonderful friendships she had there. There is a quote that your eyes are a reflection of your spirit. I believe this to be true. One of my favorite things about my mom was her eyes. She had big, bright, welcoming green eyes. They were gentle and kind. It was through these eyes that she always saw the good in any situation and in any person. A perfect example of this is when she was diagnosed with cancer. You can imagine that we were all shocked and overcome with emotions. One that I immediately felt was anger because she was so young. Her response was, well, 64 years is pretty good, Bran. Even in a situation as terrible as this, she chose to focus on the positive. Growing up, this was always the case. I can remember times when something wouldn't go the way I wanted, or I didn't like a certain outcome. I would go to my mom to complain about it. You know the saying that misery loves company? Well, you can probably guess that I didn't get any company. She would say something to the effect that it could be worse and pointed out all the ways the situation was not so bad. She didn't let me have a pity party for long. She comes by this quality honestly because her mother was the exact same way, an eternal optimist. My mom was our family's rock. She experienced more than her fair share of trials and tribulations, but she remained solid. My mom is one of the strongest people I will ever know. This is one of the qualities I admired most about her. She made sure the people around her were well taken care of and always put the needs of others ahead of her own. Kathy had a mind of her own, and when she was determined to do something, she did it. This trait was evident from the time she was a little girl. If someone told her she couldn't do something, she would reply, "Ken, so goddammit." I think this was also the case at the end of her life. I don't think she wanted us to watch her suffer with cancer, so I believe she decided to go on her own terms. To the world, she was our mother, but to us, she was our world and will be forever missed. No one will ever love you like your mother. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really tough for you. We understand that. And you did a superb job. Is Patty Rogers here? Put your hand up if you are. Well, I saw a whole bunch of people doing this. No? Okay, well, let me tell you, you don't need to worry about any constructive criticism. That was an amazing job, and thank you. Again, Patty Rogers, if you're here, would you please introduce yourself to me before the end of the day so that I can apologize for whatever mistakes I'm making that I didn't learn in language arts. You know, I don't have the privilege of being a grandfather. I could tell you that's because I'm way too young, but that would be a monumental lie. But I don't have that privilege. But I have lots of friends who do, and I look at them, see them with their grandchildren, and they're almost changed people. I know that my own mother never treated me as pleasantly as she treated our daughter, and I guess there is some kind of a magical bond between grandparent and grandchild. They see the best in each other all the time. We're going to listen as the grandchildren come and share something. There will be Steve and Carrie's children, Rhea, Caitlin, and Ryder, and then Brandy and Jeff's children, Alex, Ben, and Connor. Now, these kids are doing us all a favor by being willing to talk to us. So sit up straight. That's right, I saw some of you do that. Make sure you've got your best hearing in play. Put your thinking caps on and listen to the grandchildren. Yeah. Ryder, we may have to no, we won't put the microphone down. I'm going to use the handheld when we get to the last, okay? Just
Grandma Kathy is someone that I'll always think the world of. Someday I hope I can have as kind of a soul as she did. I love spending time with her because she was so kind and positive. She always managed to make me happy. The only time in my whole life I've ever heard about my grandma getting mad at us was when Rhea tried to throw a rock at me when I was just learning to walk. Even after Grandma getting mad at Rhea, I was told she apologized to my mom and felt bad for getting mad at her, even though my sister tried to kill me. Whenever my parents would go out to Rider games, it meant we all got to have a sleepover with Grandma and Grandpa. These were the best because they consisted of our favorite card game, Skippo, a movie with popcorn and floats, and the following morning with dipping eggs. When Mom and Dad came to pick us up, we never wanted to leave. Grandma also always kept up to date with all my hockey. Her and Grandpa would come to any game they could, and when they went south for the winter, they would live stream mostly all my games. I'm going to miss looking into the stands and seeing her there all the time supporting me in the things I love. When Christmas came around, Grandma always knew how to make it the best. Our day started with opening presents and Grandma's stockings she made up for everyone in the family. After this, she made the biggest brunch: eggs, bacon, hash browns, cinnamon buns, fruit, toast, anything you could think of. Grandma was such a good cook. By the time supper came around, it was even better. And of course, Christmas dinner was always at her house. She loved spending time with family, and Christmas will never be the same without her. Grandma's the most kind-hearted and thoughtful person. When I used to have sleepovers at my grandparents' house, I would get scared at night and wouldn't want to sleep in the spare room alone. Grandma didn't want me to be afraid at night, so she would make a little bed on the floor with blankets, pillows, right beside her bed. Then I wasn't alone and had Grandma and Grandpa with me. She also made up this thing when tucking in all the grandkids when she would say, eyes, nose, cheeky, cheeky, chin. And we were always so excited for this. When Caitlin Ryder and I would stay at our grandparents', we always knew it would be so much fun. Golf cart hide and seek will always be one of my fondest memories. One or two of us kids would be on the golf cart with Grandma, and the other would be on the Arctic Cat with Grandpa. We would take turns hiding all around the farm, sometimes getting pretty creative, even parking inside the caragana trees. Grandma would be just as happy as us when we would find Grandpa. So many smiles and laughs were shared in these moments. Grandma also really loved watching us play hockey. Whenever any of our hockey games would go into shootouts, Grandma would just hate it, though. After the game, she would always say how it's not fair that we work so hard as a team the whole game, and then it comes down to one person at the end. I agree with her.
I always remember when my grandparents and I would play cribbage. Grandma and Grandpa would always take it easy on me when I was younger and help me get better. Whenever we played, Grandma would always fuel her addiction with hickory sticks. We always got spoiled with treats whenever we went over there.
Grandma, you're the mother of my mom, and I'm certain it is true. She's a wonderful mother because she was raised by you.
How I love you, Grandma. You're an angel from above, for you have shown our family how to live and how to love.
That was very well done, you guys. I really doubt that at your age I'd have been able to do that. But thank you for opening your hearts and showing us the grandma living there. It was very meaningful. We're going to be privileged now as we watch and listen to the memories that have been put together in picture for us. Please sit back and relax, watch for yourself, laugh, cry, whatever you do, celebrate in your heart Kathy Gilroy.
When I get where I'm going, on the far side of the sky, the first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside a lion and run my fingers through his mane, or I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. I'm gonna walk with my granddaddy, and he'll match me step for step, and I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left. And then I'll hug his neck. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. With so much pain and so much darkness in this world we stumble through, all these questions I can't answer, and so much work to do. But when I get where I'm going, and I see my Maker's face, I'll stand forever in the light of His amazing grace. Yeah, when I get where I'm going,
Oh, when I get where I'm going,
there'll be only happy tears.
Looking back on the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above. For a moment, all the world was right. How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? And now, glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Holding you, I held everything, and for a moment, wasn't I the king? But if I'd only known how the king would fall, yeah, who's to say? You know, I might have changed it all. And now, glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Yes, my life is better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance.
Happy 40th, Jeff.
There was a woman who loves life, loves family, loves friends. She loves the world in a way that most of us can never attain to. Our time in this space is almost completed. In a moment, I will speak a blessing on Kathy and pronounce the benediction, and we will be leaving to accompany Kathy to her last resting place here on earth. I would ask you, if it's all right with you, to bow your heads and your hearts. Kathy, do you see how many people are here? Can you, in the place that you are, feel the waves of love that right now are filling this space and going beyond this place looking for you. We bless you on your way home. Oh, you may already have reached home. But we want you to know that we would never do anything to interfere with that voyage and that trip. Not because we don't love you and want you here, but because we love you so much that we can't wish you here. We promise you that we will do our best to continue to live our lives with you as an example. As her family, the promise is made to live life in a way that would receive your approval and your blessing. And God, you know, we honestly don't want to be here doing this, but because of our deep love, we're lifting Kathy now to you in our hearts and in our thoughts. We have done all that we can do, and now we have to trust you to do what remains. And so we do. As you receive her, walk her home. Let her be the woman that you made her to be without any kind of impediment. We ask that she'd find joy in your presence. Amen. In a moment, we will extinguish the candle. And that's all that we're doing, is extinguishing a candle. It has nothing to do with extinguishing your love or her memory. And I remind you of the blessing that we just spoke. Now I'm going to invite you to bow your heads and hearts once again as I pronounce the benediction. Father, your word tells us that nothing can separate us from your love. Not mountain, not sea, not walls, not distance, not hatred. Nothing can separate us from your love. And so we believe that Kathy is now in your presence. I pray for every person who is here right now, but most especially, I pray for the members of her family. Oh, Father, just rest your hand quietly and peacefully upon them. Let them know your presence and let them feel your love. And I pray, Father, that as we dismiss in peace, that we would go to the paths created for us alone, loving and serving you, but remembering and loving Kathy. Amen.
Bye, Mom. That's what I said at 5 years old, the first day of school. Already then I thought I was way too cool.